your Georgetown Eagles. Leading off the number 1 position, the catcher, number 20, Wyatt Childress. Batting number 2, your right fielder, number 12, Jackson Seosin. Batting number 3, your first baseman, number 23, Cole Moore. Batting number 4, wearing number 6, your center fielder, Ryan Knight. Batting number 5, your third baseman, number 7, Jeffrey David. Batting number 6, your DH, number 13, Logan Drake. Batting number 7, playing left field, number 25, Hunter Savarese. Batting 8, your shortstop, number 5, Cole Posey. Batting number 9, number 8, your second baseman, Luke Seaback. And on the mound tonight, your pitcher, number 14, Grayson Smith.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another night of Raider baseball on SHN Sports. My name is Michael Francis alongside Karl Schoening tonight, and we're going to take a break as we stand for the national anthem. Well, welcome again, everybody. It's Tuesday night baseball as Rouse Raiders and the Georgetown Eagles get set to get things started here at Eagle Field in Georgetown, Texas, on the campus of Georgetown High School. Both teams come in with identical records. This is a state-ranked matchup with Rouse facing number 13, Georgetown, and Rouse being ranked in the top 20 at number 17. Both teams are 16-7-1, with Georgetown being 8-0, undefeated in District 19-5A, and Rouse at 5-1 in District 5A. Georgetown solidly in first place, but followed close behind by Rouse and Cedar Park. So we're set to get things started here. I'll run down the lineups for you. Defensively on the hill, we have number 14, Grayson Smith for the Eagles. Behind the plate, number 20, Wyatt Childress. At first base, number 23, Cole Moore. At second base, number 8, Luke Seaback. At shortstop, number 5, Cole Posey. At third base, number 7, Jeffrey David. In left field, number 25, Hunter Savarese. In center field, number 6, Ryan Knight. And in right field, number 12, Jackson Seosin. And for your Raiders tonight, leading off, number 2, Nick Hempel at second base. The center fielder, number 10, Hayden Thomas. Followed by number 23, Jared Southard, who will be your starting pitcher tonight. Number 1, Cody Vanoy, will be behind the plate, followed by number 55, Dalton Porter in right field. Number 11, Robbie Ramos-Caro, will be a short designated hitter for tonight. And batting 7th, number 6, John Dominguez. He will be hitting in place of number 20, Lance Little at first base. Batting 8th, left fielder, number 14, Cody Kelch. And rounding out the order, the third baseman, number 9, Caleb Diaz. And we're set to get things underway. Nick Hempel comes to the plate. Well, we were able to skate around all the bad weather. It's kind of circled around us. We've had little sprinkles here and there and a lot of high wind, but we've avoided the major stuff as it's gone east and west of Georgetown.
And it's calmed down just in time for us to play some ball.
It sure has. Grayson Smith on the hill for the Eagles. He picks up the sign. And the pitch. That's in for a called strike. Nothing in one to Hempel. That pitch was swung on and missed for strike two, and Hempel quickly falls behind.
Real nice movement on that slider. It started kind of in the heart of the zone and then tailed off towards that low and away corner, and Hempel had a nice cut, just couldn't connect.
And the pitch from Smith, that's cut on. That's hit the short. Cole Posey throws over to first, and Hempel is retired. I'll go 6-3 on the putout. As the center fielder, number 10, Hayden Thomas, will step up to the plate. Number 23, Jared Southard on deck for the Raiders. Smith comes set. He's pitching from the stretch. This is fouled off down the left field line for strike one.
Yeah, he started out of the stretch, and typically you see that out of bullpen pitchers, but here the starter for Georgetown starts out of the stretch with nobody on.
Hayden Thomas works from the stretch exclusively. The pitch misses inside for ball one. The count evens. One out with nobody on here in the top of the first for the Raiders. Smith comes set. Fastball popped up and out of play for strike two. 1-2 the count to Thomas.
Wind has definitely died down a lot, but it's still coming in from that left field side, so I wonder if that'll play effect a little bit in keeping some balls on the left field side fair and pushing some balls on the right field side foul.
The pitch from Smith. This is hit out towards center. Ryan Neich tracks it, makes the catch. And Thomas is retired for out number two.
Now at bat number 23, Southern.
That'll bring up the pitcher, number 23, Jared Southard. Cody Vanoy on deck. 2 away with nobody on here in the top of the first for the Raiders. Smith comes set. Then the delivery. That's outside for ball one.
Smith saw that one get away from him, but he really brought the heat on that pitch.
Tailed away there at the end, bringing Childress up just a bit. Pitch again, just misses that outside corner for ball two. 0-2 the count to Southern. Cody Vanoy on deck. Smith delivers the 0-2 pitch. That's in for a called strike. And the count goes to 2-1.
Well, if the trend continues, this pitch will be inside as he's kind of worked his way over the heart of the plate in this at-bat.
The 2-1 pitch from Smith. Swing and a miss. And the count evens up at 2. Deuce is wild for Jared Southard. A 2-2 pitch coming up. And a delivery. That's right down Broadway for strike 3, and Southard caught looking. For out number 3. Raiders go down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors. On to the bottom of the second we go. You're listening to SHN Sports. Welcome back to Rouse Raider Baseball as we're set to get things underway here in the bottom of the first. Rouse coming off of a sweep against the Cedar Creek Eagles last week, beating Cedar Creek last Monday 14-0, and then coming back on Thursday night and wrapping up a 7-0 shutout of the Eagles. That was a combined shutout with Hayden Thomas and Seth Francis to get that shutout. As Southard is going through his warm-ups, and we get things started. Leading off for the Eagles, number 20, the catcher, Wyatt Childress. He will be followed by the right fielder, number 12, Jackson Seosin, and the first baseman, number 23, Cole Moore. Georgetown dressed out in their pinstripe white and blue pants, blue socks with their camo tops with blue lettering and numerals outlined in white batting helmets. Rouse Raiders are dressed in their white pants, black pinstripes, and maroon tops. Childress stands in. Southern picks up the sign from Vinoy. He deals a fastball in, and it gets a piece of Childress, and he gets on by the hit pitch.
Well, that's why you wear those elbow protections. That fastball came in quick. He couldn't really do much but kind of brace for contact, and it's not the way Southern wanted things to go, and one pitch and one man on already.
Number 12, Jackson Seosin, stands in for the Eagles. 1 on, no outs here in the bottom of the first. Seosin shows bunt. Sutter steps off and looks Childress back to first. Rouse, you expect to play things very tightly in this contest tonight. Seosin lays down the bunt, the throw down to second, the force in play, and Childress is thrown out. That'll go 1-6 on the putout. As Seosin hit into the fielder's choice.
Yeah, Georgetown trying to play a little small ball and get a sacrifice to get a runner in scoring position with only 1 out, but nice play there to just go ahead and get the lead runner.
First baseman, number 23, Cole Moore, now stands in. Again, a runner at first with 1 away here in the bottom of the first. Southern picks up the sign. He deals a fastball, misses low and outside for ball 1. Nothing in 1, the count to Moore. Seosin extends his lead at first. A throw from Southern in for a called strike, and that'll even the count up at 1. Rouse really needing Southern on top of his game tonight in this district contest, with Georgetown leading the district. That pitch is fouled off and goes out of play. And the count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, we were talking about the wind maybe pushing those kind of balls back into the field of play, but it's kind of died down, especially a lot from where it was about an hour ago, and we were scared that potential rains could be coming in. But while those clouds are threatening out there in right field, I don't think they're coming this way.
The 1-2 pitch, that's fouled off back to the fence, and the count will remain. Moore batting from the left side. Southern comes set, the delivery. Fastball inside, kind of gets away from Vanoy, but he keeps it out in front. Able to keep Siosen at first. Count evens up at 2 for Cole Moore. Southern checks Siosen at first. Comes set. And the throw home, that's fouled off and out of play. And again, the count will remain even at 2.
Southern very methodical and very much at his own pace there with that little pendulum swing as he waits for his sign. And I think that'll help him overall in the long run here against Georgetown, who you need to very much be in your own pace as a pitcher, not let them determine the pace with some hot shot innings, especially with a runner on.
The throw over to first was not in time as Siosen dives back in. It was close. So the one thing that Southern does not need to do is go deep into multiple counts. Again, the throw over to first, not in time as Siosen just gets his hand on the bag. But that was as close as any that you'll see. It's one of those that could go either way.
I think Lance thought he got him.
Southern picks up the sign from Vanoy, and he delivers. This one's fouled off. And the count still remains even at 2. Wind kind of moving all over the place. Again, a throw over, and that one not in time. As it's blown out of the north, so it's blowing from left to right, but occasionally you'll see the flags blowing in towards center, so there's a lot of swirling kind of going around us here. The throw home, this is hit out toward right and goes foul. But he had that one. That was hit out to deep right field in foul territory.
Yeah, we've seen the wind push the ball from center field and the right center field when the Raiders were up at bat, and right there you kind of see it maybe potentially a fair ball on a clear sunny day, but here with the storms in the area, that kind of got hung up in the sky and was really pushed into foul territory, almost went out of play.
Siosen extends his lead there at first. The pitch and misses low for ball 3, and now the count has worked full. Southern suspect in his last outing with giving up several walks. Siosen takes off on the jump, but ball 4.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the center fielder, number 6, Ryan Neich.
2 on. Runners at first and second for the center fielder, Ryan Neich. Raiders definitely do not need to give up a bunch of Eagle base runners.
Yeah, Southern's kind of found a little bit of a rhythm from the hill, but obviously that leadoff hit batsman, kind of put him in a little bit of a predicament. At least they were able to get him out on the fielder's choice for that first out, but Now runners on first and second with 1 out against the 13th state ranked team in the state. Obviously, Southard's going to be even more methodical than he's been to this point. And they already got the signs straight there as we heard the walk-up for this batter.
Schoening extends his lead a second. Curveball gets away from Southard for ball 1. Infield playing in on the grass. And Schoening jumping around back there, and Neich raises his arms to avoid the hit.
Yeah, Southard almost a little too concerned with Schoening. He threw a lot of balls back over to first, and I don't think he really quite zoned into where he wanted to place that pitch as he's keeping an eye on second.
The 2-0, that one's fouled off into the right field stands, and that'll bring the count to 2-1. 2 on with 1 out, no score here in the bottom of the first in Georgetown. Southard comes set. He deals. This pitch misses, and double steal on as Vanoy kind of lost the handle on it.
Yeah, and Vanoy wanted to try and make a play for second there, but nobody was covering, so he had to pull his pump fake back and deal with the runners advancing. And now Southard could potentially have a sac fly, score a run on him.
Yeah. A good ground ball would score 2. 3-1 the count to Neich. Vanoy gives the sign. Southard toes the rubber and stops. So number 7 kind of pulling what Southern does and kind of gets back there behind the batter. Coach Crampine. That pitch fouled away, and count goes full to Ryan Neich. Jared could really help himself out here if he can get this out, and even better if it's a strikeout. Pitch, swing and a miss from Ryan Neich, and they're going to try to steal home.
This could be an unconventional double play.
Southern back there at first. They're at home. They're trying to get this runner, and they call him out. So the strikeout and the tag out, and Georgetown strands 1. No score after 1 here in Georgetown. No runs, no hits, no errors. And on to the second we go. You're listening to Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by the Schoening Hip Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, use of sound bites and interviews, and use of any other content, including audio or video, without the direct written consent and permission by the Schoening Hip Network is strictly prohibited and protected by federal and copyright laws. All rights are reserved by the Schoening Hip Network and SHNSports.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and some interesting turn of events there at the end of that inning. A strikeout from Ryan Neitch and a double pickle kind of going on, and Jared Southern able to get Cole Moore on the steal. Cody Vanoy stands in. He hits it to short. Cole Posey fields it cleanly and throws him out at first.
Yeah, nice contact there, and you know, if the shortstop were shaded over a little bit more to the left, that could have maybe gone up the middle, but instead it'll be one away.
And that'll bring up the left-handed hitting right fielder, number 55, Dalton Porter, comes to the plate. Grayson Smith on the hill for the Eagles. Pitch, that one's popped up towards center. Ryan Neitch tracks it, makes the catch. And 2 outs on 2 pitches. As Smith is able to work quickly as Rouse jumps on his pitches early.
Yeah, that one probably wasn't going to go anywhere except if the wind really assisted moving that ball around center field. But good contact initiated here by Rouse on the first 2 at-bats at least.
Number 11, Robbie Ramos-Caro, stands in, and he looks at strike 1. A scoreless ball game here in the top of the second. 2 away with nobody on for the Rouse Raiders. Ramos pops that one up. Cole Posey tracks it, makes the catch, and the Raiders go down in order for the second time. This one on the infield fly. And why don't we just stay with it since this one was so short?
Yeah, rough inning there for the Raiders, but if anything, you can see that they're maybe trying to pick up on Smith's timing. You know, that's the positive you can take out of that. The negative is that nobody got on base after 3 good contact hits, and, you know, it's going to be hard. We were talking about it before the game, and what is it? It says it's 323 down the lines and 385 to the power alleys. Those are kind of probably guesstimates, but to hit it out of this ballpark with that batter's eye back there, the elevated center field, it's going to need some power, especially against this wind. So anything that goes to the outfield is probably going to stay in the ballpark this evening. So working that lower half of the strike zone is probably to the batter's benefit this evening, and anything above that upper half of the zone is probably going to result in a fly ball and an easy out.
Leading off the second for the Georgetown Eagles, number 7, the third baseman, Jeffrey David. Southern back in to pitch the second. He picks up the sign from the windup and delivers a fastball outside for ball 1. Key for Southern is to pound the strike zone. Throw downhill and avoid giving up walks. So shows a little bit of displeasure in that call. He felt like it was in.
He changed up his
strike.
Yeah, he changed up his style there a little bit. Remember, we were talking about that kind of kneeled over pendulum, and he kind of just brought the glove up to his face, and you know, that probably doesn't change the actual throwing mechanics too much, but just the rhythm of the pitcher. And he got out of a pickle there in the first inning with runners at second and third with only 1 out. That double play really helped him out, but you almost don't want to change up too much of your game, and now he's just working out of that stretch, or the windup, I should say.
The 2-0 gets David in the head, and he'll take off down to first, and again, he has hit the leadoff batter.
Now back for your Georgetown Eagles, the DH, number 13, Logan Drake.
That'll bring up the designated hitter, number 13, Logan Drake. One on, no outs here in the bottom of the second. in a tie ball game, 0-0 here in Georgetown. It's a baseball field located on the campus of Georgetown High School. Southern steps off and looks David back to first. Throw over, not in time. You can see that David was tagged right about the belt, so his hands were obviously on the bag. Southern has the sign. A pitch in for a called strike as Drake takes.
Southern moved back to that pendulum swing, by the way, so that's good to know. Maybe that was the cause of the hit batter earlier. Well, at least I'll say that.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again. 0-1 the count to Drake. A swing and a miss as Southern gets that one by him, and Drake falls behind 0-2.
Yeah, Drake had no choice but to swing at that pitch, but Southern just finding his rhythm a little bit more now with the runner on. And
throw over, gets away from Little into the fence, and that's going to allow David to make it all the way over to third base. A throwing error that is very costly, or could potentially be very costly.
Yeah, now that changes up Drake's at-bat here. He might just try and put something in the air, and the wind's dying down for him.
The 0-2 from Southern. That's hit back up the middle. Ramos has it. The throw over to first, and that'll score David on the fielder's choice.
Or a ground ball there.
The left fielder, number 25, Hunter Savarese.
6-3. 1 run is scored. And that error, a costly one. Number 25, Hunter Savarese, will stand in. He cuts on and fouls it off back to the net for strike one.
I like Southern's pitching style, but that probably would be my one critique. He seems very concerned with the base runners, and the more you throw over, the law of averages increases for something like that throwing error to happen.
The 0-1 misses inside, and that'll even the count up at 1. Savarese with a bat resting on his shoulder, swing and a miss. And he falls behind 1-2. Sun peeking through the clouds. Hayden Thomas loaning Dalton Porter his sunglasses to fight against the western sun shining in his eyes, and it's affecting the second baseman and the first baseman, Nick Hempel and Lance Little, respectively. Savarese waits for the pitch. Southern Wines comes home. A breaking ball in for strike 3 call. And Savarese is retired.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the shortstop.
2 away.
Cole.
Nobody on. Here in the bottom of the second, Georgetown has taken a 1-0 lead over your Rouse Raiders. The shortstop, number 5, Cole Posey, now stands in. Southern Wines, he comes home. A fastball inside and low for ball 1. Southern gets Savarese on that slider. The 1-0, that's outside, and the count evens.
Yeah, really good movement on that pitch that caused the strikeout, and Southern trying to get this final out to get out of the inning.
Pitch again outside. For ball 3. The 3-0. That's in for a called strike, and the count goes to 3-1. Posey representing the number 8 spot. 3-1 pitch. That's high and outside for ball 4. And Southard has issued his second walk of the night. That'll bring up the second baseman, number 8, Luke Seaback. Seaback. I'm sorry, that is the correct enunciation or pronunciation. Posey extends his lead at first. Southard from the stretch. Fastball misses high for ball 1. One on, 2 away here in the bottom of the second. Georgetown leading the Raiders 1-0. The pitch misses high for ball 2.
Couple close pitches just missing here and keeping Southard behind in the count.
The 2-0 sails way outside, and Southard quickly behind 3-0.
Real good job by Vinoy there to make sure they didn't get past him.
The 3-0 pitch, that's down the middle for a called strike. Seaback taking all the way. He may have the take sign on again, as Southard has struggled, these two batters, in finding the strike zone. The pitch sails high for ball 4. Coach Krempine calls time as he wants to go out and visit with Jared Southard. See if he can calm his right-hander down. 2 on, 2 out. You need to get out of this inning.
Yeah, he got out of the first unscathed with a little bit of luck from that rundown, but here with runners on first and second and 2 outs, I imagine he'll stay in, but you know, it's got to be a situation where he makes sure that his pitcher is confident in his ability to find the strike zone. And a couple of those pitches in that last walk were real close to hitting the outside corner. The umpire wasn't really expanding the strike zone out to that range, but here Southard pretty much needs to get the out or get the ball in play, because you don't want a base hit here to score another run and be down 2-0 against Georgetown.
We're back to the top of the order as the catcher, number 20, Wyatt Childress, comes to the plate. Can't really see the bullpen on the Raider dugout to see if there's any activity going over there. Southard comes set. The pitch to Childress.
Must have hit him again. I think Vinoy disagrees, but
well, I think Vinoy is trying to say he leaned into the pitch.
Georgetown Eagles, the right fielder, number 12, Jackson Schoening.
That'll load the bases with Eagles. I thought he kind of leaned into it, but
I didn't even really see it, but it must have been a sound, you know.
Nobody's arguing it. Number 12, Jackson Schoening, now stands in. He hit into a fielder's choice in the first. The pitch misses down and away for ball 1.
Yeah, Vinoy calming down Southard here as that pitch really missed, and Southard probably just needs that quick little break and words of encouragement. Just one more out here and he gets out of the inning.
Well, it's a force at any base. Ball 1, count to Schoening. Fastball down and away for ball 2. Southard has hit 3 batters on the night.
Courtesy runner here.
Number 10, and I will give you this young man's name. Jared Rouse will come in to courtesy run. for the catcher, Wyatt Childress. 2 balls, no strikes to Siosen. The pitch just misses the outside corner for ball 3. The 3-0 pitch, it'll be taking all the way for ball 4, and that'll walk in a run.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the first baseman, number 23, Cole Moore.
Georgetown getting 2 runs on the board here in the bottom of the second. And that'll bring up number 23, Cole Moore, the first baseman. And this is a big young man right here. If he gets a hold of this, it could go. Southern comes set. The pitch misses.
I think Vinoy took that off the mask, and he's just going to take a moment here.
The umpire hand delivers. The ball out to Southern. Vinoy doing a lot of moving around behind the plate to keep anything from going by. You definitely don't want to open this game up. You need to keep it within reach. 1 ball, no strikes. Pitch in, check swing, and he held up, went for a called strike. That'll even up the count, 1-1. Bases loaded for Cole Moore. The 1-1 pitch from Southern. That's chopped on and hit down to first. That bounces away from Little. He loses the handle on it. That is going to score 2 more runs. Oh, he says Vinoy tagged him out. That's going to score 1 run. So I would have to go back and look at the replay. I thought he had slid across the bag.
That was close, but you know, I think Rouse kind of catches the benefit of the doubt there because Little was able to track that ball down and see that there was a run coming in to score, and the play at the plate goes Rouse's way. Otherwise, we would have a 4-0 game and runners at second and third with runner at first reaching on an error, or runners at first and third, I should say. But Rouse again gets out of an inning in an unconventional way, but that 1 error does help 1 run score, and Rouse going to have to dig themselves out of a hole a little bit more here as we enter the top of the 3rd.
So the hit gets away from Lance Little, so that'll be an error on him. And the courtesy runner, number 10, Jared Ross, makes it all the way around and tries to score and gets thrown out at home to end the inning. But Georgetown puts 3 on the board and does some damage against the Rouse defense. And so Rouse needing to come back and do some damage of their own and stay in this ball game.
Yeah, you have to look at the positives in this situation, and the positives are you got out of the first unscathed when it could have very easily been runners at second and third with 1 out, scoring at least 1 run. And here in that 2nd inning, it could still be going on with a 4-0 deficit, and they're fortunate to only be down 3 at the moment.
Dominguez now batting as he takes strike 1. Dominguez hitting for Lance Little. The 0-1 pitch from Smith in for a called strike, and Dominguez falls behind 0-2.
Keeping an eye on the weather around here, and I'm going to knock on wood just in case, but it looks like we're in the clear.
Number 14, Cody Kelch on deck for the Raiders. Smith picks up the sign. And he catches Dominguez looking for out number 1. That'll be a strike caught looking.
Number 14, Kelch.
To start the inning.
I got the entire booth here to knock on wood, but really, I'll show you. There was some really dangerous stuff coming our way and just seemed to disappear.
Just dissipated.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It rained out on us. Not in the way that we, would be mad about. It rained out in a good way.
So Coach Krempine taking some time to talk with Cody Kelch. Hopefully they can get things started here. Raiders trailing by 3 here in the top of the 3rd. Smith picks up the sign. He toes in on the rubber. He comes set and he delivers. That's down and away for ball 1. One ball, no strikes to Cody Kelch. The pitch from Smith, that's cut on and fouled off down the left field line. That'll even the count up at 1. Smith working very journeyman-like. The pitch, that misses inside for ball 2.
Journeyman-like?
Mm-hmm. He's got good control of his pitches, and locating them and not going in deep into counts.
I'll remember that one.
The 2-1, that misses down and away for ball 3.
Because, he got out of that second inning with only 4 pitches, 3 outs.
Only 4 pitches and 3 outs. This is the first batter that he's gone into a 3-1 count with for the Raiders. Smith comes set. And the 3-1 pitch, that's in for a called strike. And the count works even. That's working journeyman-like right there. Climb back into the count. Payoff pitch coming from Smith. He picks up the sign. This one's hit to second base. Seaback fields it. Makes the throw over to first in time. That'll go 4-3.
Now at bat number 9, Diaz.
2 away. And that'll bring up number 9 batter, Caleb Diaz, the third baseman.
That was a really good defensive play by Seaback right there. He was able to field the ball and make the throw. It looked a lot harder than it probably was, but he made it look good.
That's chopped on. It's comes off the turf about 15 feet in the air. Cole Posey tracks it, makes the catch, and throws Diaz out at first. That'll be 6-3 to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Raiders. No runs, no hits, no errors. We trail 3-0 to the Eagles here in the top of the end of the top half of the first. You're listening to Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're ready to get the bottom of the third started with Ryan Neitch comes to the plate. Knight struck out back in the first. Pitch for Southern sails high for ball one. There's some activity going in the Raider bullpen. I'm not sure who he has warming up. 1 ball, no strikes tonight. Pitch from Southern upstairs for ball 2. And Southern really struggling to get back into the strike zone. You know, he seemed to settle in, and then he had some misfortune, and now he's struggling to find it. That pitch in for a called strike. 2-1 the count tonight. Jeffrey David on deck. The 2-1. That misses low and away for ball 3. Southern winds, and the pitch. That's fouled out of play. And that will bring the count full.
Good opportunity here to get the lead runner out, and Southern, who hasn't gotten that so far and is through 2 innings of work, can get for the 3rd.
The payoff pitch, that's down and away for ball 4.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the third baseman, number 7, Jeffrey David.
And once again, the leadoff gets on base. That'll bring up number 7, Jeffrey David, and Coach Crimpine has seen enough. He's bringing out number 7, Seth Francis, to relieve Jared Southern here in the 3rd. Southern's property stands at first base. In the form of Ryan Knight.
I think Seth is just what Rouse needs at the moment here, somebody who has a different delivery to kind of throw off Georgetown. In fact, you see them all kind of quizzically looking at him. They're over at third base just trying to pick up on that different throwing motion and maybe a little bit of his timing here. But I think if anything can calm down the Eagles' bats here, it's definitely a change of pitcher here. And he inherits a runner, but probably a good situation for him to come into with only 1 runner on.
Well, damage control for the Raiders right now in the form of Francis. Fortunately, he has 2 different arm angles that he actually works. He can throw the submarine, and he can throw from the 3/4. So he can give you a different look. This is how off balance he can keep these Georgetown bats.
This is a little bit early for him to come in here in the 3rd.
Typically it is. But Raiders needing to make something happen. There'll be a short leash on every pitcher.
Yeah, I imagine.
I can imagine with Rouse at this point. Number 7, Jeffrey Davis comes to the plate. David hit by pitch as he got hit in the head by Southern back in the 2nd. Recap things for you here. Georgetown has a 3-0 lead over your Rouse Raiders. Southern gives up the leadoff walk, and Francis hits David, and then he gets hit for the 2nd time tonight.
It looks like he took that in the wrist and hand. He's shaking that off.
So there may be some argument if he got hit in the hands. That's part of the bat, and not sure they're going to give him the bag.
I wonder what this conversation's about.
So, interesting to see if he was swinging at all.
And field umpires coming into this conversation as well. And I think David's at-bat is going to continue. I think they're even going to question on whether or not they're going to give him the base. I think the other question was whether or not the runner over there at second took off. I didn't quite catch that, but unfortunate start there to Seth Francis's outing on the mound. Because you're right, it did kind of seem like there was a little half swing that went into that hit batsman, I should say.
2 on with no outs here in the top of the third. And that brings up number 13, Logan Drake, the designated hitter. Drake batting from the left side. And Drake calls time as Francis takes his time. And we're set to get it going again. Francis checks second, and he comes home. Drake lays down the bunt. Francis fields it, throws over to first in time, and Drake is out. 1 away, but he sack bunts the runners over to second and third. And that'll bring up number 25, the left fielder, Hunter Savarese.
Yeah, small ball works that time. Earlier in the game, the bunt was a little bit too strong, and Southard was able to get the lead runner with the timing, but Francis making the only play he really could and concedes the runners in the scoring position.
Savarese, a strikeout victim, his first and only at bat. He was caught looking. The pitch from Francis, that's fouled off for strike 1.
Hope that wasn't my car.
Hope it wasn't mine either. 2 on with 1 out. Runners at second and third with Savarese at the plate. Francis steps off. Vinoy gives another sign, and Francis comes set, pitching from the stretch. The pitch, swing and a miss from Savarese. And he's down 0-2.
I like the movement on that pitch as it tailed off low and away and started in the zone and left the zone. And
you see Savarese in his swing. It looks like he's reaching across the plate, trying to get a piece of it. The 0-2 pitch, that goes down and away for ball 1.
Savarese looks like he's a solid 6'4".
He does, doesn't he? He is tall. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Savarese. Runners at second and third. Francis comes set. He delivers. This one's popped up. This could be playable, but it goes foul. And the count remains 1-2. Again, Francis toes in at the rubber. He has that dangling arm. And the pitch gets fouled off again.
Yeah, he's been really doing a good job working that inner half, and Savarese had to kind of swing a couple tight swings just to get a piece of those last 2 pitches.
Francis could really help himself out if he can get the strikeout. The 1-2 pitch, that's popped up. It's an infield fly. Actually, it kind of goes into outfield. Porter catches it. And Knight, who started to take off towards home, thinks better about it, and he trots back to third. 2 away as Savarese flies out to right. And the number 8 batter, the shortstop, number 5, Cole Posey, comes to the plate.
Really good on Porter there to make sure that he caught it, and that put him in a better situation to make a play at the plate. And it was a good job by Neitch not to go, because that probably could have been out number 3.
Francis Dills, that one down and away for ball 1. I'd like to give a shout out to our gracious host by allowing us to set up in the press box tonight.
Oh, yeah, so much better for both of us.
The 1-0 pitch from Francis, a swing and a miss from Posey for strike 1. That'd even the count. And you're right, that fastball from Francis, he just tails away from the batters right there at the end and becomes unhittable. The 1-1 pitch, this one's hit back up the middle. This is going to score 1 run. Hayden Thomas will make the throw, and it's cut off by Jared Southard. And Georgetown puts 2 more runs on the board.
Now at the bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the second baseman, number 8, Luke Seaback.
And that is actually the first hit of the night. And that'll bring up the number 9 batter, second baseman, number 8, Luke Seaback. The pitch, throw down to second, will not be in time. That's going to go into center field. Hayden Thomas backs it up. And that'll keep Posey at second.
Yeah, Georgetown being aggressive here and doing everything they can. 2 outs, trying to add on 1 more run and force the steal there.
Well, Thomas definitely has an arm, and he has thrown people out from deep center field at home plate.
He definitely comes into a situation where that last pitch he might have had a better chance, or that last hit, I should say, he would have had a better chance to maybe get that second runner, or at least hold him up at third, but the wind kind of assisted and pushed that into right center field and made him travel a little bit further in distance.
1 ball, no strikes to Seaback. Francis taking his time, and Seaback calls timeout as Francis checks Posey back at second. Timely hit by Posey to score those 2 runs, 2 RBIs. The pitch from Francis, that misses for ball 2.
So all 5 of the Georgetown runs are unearned, correct?
Yeah, I believe they are. Two balls, no strikes to Seaback. Francis delivers this as fouled off and out of play for strike 1. Georgetown has now taken a 5-run lead over the Rouse Raiders. Two balls, one strike to Seaback. Francis steps off and looks Posey back to second.
Yeah, Posey aggressive on those base paths, already with 1 stolen base. He wouldn't be a surprise to see him maybe go for third, but Seth Francis doing a good job making sure he stays near the bag.
Pitch from Francis misses for ball 3. 3-1 the count. One on with 2 outs, a runner at second. The pitch Swing and a miss. And that'll take the count full.
Vinoy with a textbook block of the ball, as the movement on that pitch he couldn't quite catch up to, and he knew it, but he was able to make sure it didn't get past him too far.
And that kept Posey back at second. The payoff pitch goes wide, and Francis gives up a walk, and Posey moves on down to third as he had the jump.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the catcher, number 20, Wyatt Childress.
That'll bring up the top of the order in Wyatt Childress. Runners on the corners for the Eagles. 2 away here in the bottom of the third, with Georgetown leading Rouse by 5. Childress has been hit by pitch twice. Francis steps off and looks Seaback back to first. We got more activity on the Raider bullpen. Pitch. Throw down to third. Back to home. Okay.
I think they said that the play at home resulted in an out, which means that throw down the third base line.
They're saying he lost the ball in transition. So he's saying the run didn't score, that he got the out.
Vinoy even kind of knew that he didn't make the tag and made that throw down to third, and the field umpire could make that a run scored, and we just play with a runner at third there. Let's see what the result of this is, because, you know, Vinoy's reaction seemed to think that he knew that he didn't get him out, but he was maybe going for out number 3 after the run scored. And I think that might be the key point of this discussion. See what happens, because I've never really seen out 3 called. Everybody kind of leaves except for, you know, the runner there at third. And let's see what happens here. This is interesting.
Called him out. Well, Cole Posey thrown out, attempting to steal home.
Some very unconventional endings to these. All 3 of the Georgetown bottom halves of the inning.
So that goes 2-5-2 on the put out. So interesting.
Yeah, you usually, geez, I want to say every inning has ended oddly. The rundown that prevented runs from being scored with runners at second and third with 1 out in the first. And then in the third inning, or the second inning when 3 runs were scored, can't quite remember what happened there, but something odd happened in that inning too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right. It was the pickoff back at third base. They kind of double stealed, and they were kind of going back and forth. And Jared Southard ended up tagging the runner diving back into the bag.
Yeah, that's right. And that almost resulted in that we thought that was close.
Yeah, that was close, that he was getting back in safe, but he wasn't. Georgetown scores 2 runs on 1 hit and no errors to end the third. And again, it's kind of some questionable theatrics here in Georgetown.
Yeah, not your conventional, like a ground out ends the inning for any of the Georgetown at-bats. They've been real aggressive on those base paths. And Smith here has faced the minimum through the first order of
for the first
Raiders.
3 innings. He's faced 9 batters as he's retired the side in order through all 3 innings. Grayson Smith on the hill for the Eagles as Nick Hempel comes to the plate. Childress gives the sign, and the pitch gets the outside corner for strike one.
That outer half of the zone wasn't there for either side at the beginning of the game, and it's kind of opened up here as the game's gone on.
No balls, one strike to Hempel. And a pitch. That's inside for ball one. Hayden Thomas on deck for your Raiders. One and one the count to Hempel. Pitch hit down the left field line, goes foul for strike two. 1-2 the count to Mr. Hempel.
Yeah, Hempel jammed up a little bit right there, but he was able to kind of time it right. So we'll see. He's going to crowd that plate just the same here against Smith.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody on, no outs here in the top of the 4th inning for your Rouse Raiders. Trailing by 5. Swing and a miss, and Hempel is retired for out number 1.
Now at bat, number 10, Thomas.
Hayden Thomas comes to the plate. Raiders desperately needing to get some offenses started here in the 4th. Smith has the sign. This one hit out to right center. Knight's tracks, makes the catch. And Thomas is retired.
Now at bat, number 23, Southern.
2 away as the first baseman, Jared Southern, comes to the plate. Southern, starting pitcher of the night, and he took Lance Little's place at first when Seth Francis came on in relief. Smith delivers just inside. That pitch could have gone either way.
Yeah, that was
for
close.
Ball 1. The 1-0. This is liner down to third, and Jeffrey David makes the catch. And again, Smith gets out of that inning on 5 pitches.
Yeah,
6 pitches.
As you said earlier, journeyman style, and he had that line drive go right to the hot corner, and that was probably the best contact Rouse has had all evening, and a little bit of bad luck as he hit it right at him. But Francis will come back out here and deal with this 5-run deficit, and just an unfortunate outing for the bats so far for the Rouse Raiders. And if the game gets a little bit further out of hand, it's going to be harder and harder to come back from, obviously. But at the moment, Rouse timing some of these pitches well from Smith, but Smith placing them right where he needs to for anything put into play to be an easy play for the most part.
So 1-2-3 go the Raiders. No runs, no hits, and no errors. On to the bottom of the 4th we go. Your Rouse Raiders trailing the Eagles 5-0.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the catcher, number 20, Wyatt Childress.
Seth Francis on to start the 5th. And desperately needing to silence Georgetown. It's not that their bats are active, it's the hits by pitch and the walks that have really cost the Raiders here, as Georgetown has only 1 hit on the night. Back up to lead off the 4th for the Eagles, Wyatt Childress, as he didn't complete his at-bat. He'll get things started here in the 4th. Francis delivers, and pitch misses outside for ball 1.
Childress crowding that plate so much with a little bit of a staggered stance that his right big toe is over the chalk there.
Yeah, he is standing right on the line. The 1-0 pitch, that's popped up. It's playable. Nick Hempel tracks it, makes the catch, and Childress is retired for the first out. And that's the first time that the Raiders have gotten the leadoff batter out in the game. That'll bring up number 12, Jackson Siosen. Not sure the umpire went to go talk to the Georgetown coach there in the third base coach's box.
And everything seems copacetic now.
Francis awaits Siosen to step in. Picks up the sign for Vanoy. He toes in on the rubber, the wind, and the pitch right down the middle for strike one. Nice little changeup from Francis to take some speed off of that. The delivery, this one's fouled away, and that's 2 strikes on Jackson Siosen. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 4th for the Eagles as Francis settles in. 2 strikes to Jackson Siosen. The pitch, that's fouled away, and the count remains.
Yeah, Siosen going to just shorten his swing up here and swing at anything close. Francis doing a good job of finding the strike zone to this point.
Something you don't see from Francis is a lot of wild pitches.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to maybe get a waste pitch there to just miss outside and get him to chase, but you kind of see that often in those 0-2 counts.
Vanoy doing a good job to keep it from getting by. 1-2 the count to Jackson Siosen. And the pitch. This is in on the hands and fouled away. The count remains 1-2. Francis has the sign. And he's going to step off. He didn't like what he saw. So we'll get Vanoy to reset the count. Or not the count, but the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And Siosen is retired. 2 away. And nobody on here in the bottom of the 4th. Francis gets the strikeout. That'll bring up the first baseman, number 23, Cole Moore. Cole Moore batting from the left side. That's a good thing that we weren't outside in all this wind. Can you imagine our papers trying to keep everything set up?
Our camera would probably be shaky too.
A pitch just outside for ball 1.
I don't know if I've ever seen that where the American flag back there is, you know, pretty much going outright, but the Texas flag hardly moves. And they're right next to each other.
That tree is blocking some of the wind.
Oh, good eye.
More foul tips. That one back to the fence for strike 1. That'll even the count at 1-1.
Good eye for you, not the at bat, although that was one of those swings that went straight back. And, you know, they say that any of those foul balls that go straight back, it's a matter of an inch away from it going straight up the middle.
Ryan Neich on deck for the Eagles. The 1-1 pitch from Francis misses outside for ball 2. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. The 2-1 pitch. That's fouled back out of play, and that evens the count up at 2.
Really good crowd tonight. A lot of both teams represented.
Georgetown normally well represented wherever they go. They travel well. Pitch misses inside, and the count has gone full. The payoff pitch. That's line to first. Jared Southern makes the catch. 1, 2, 3, go the Eagles. And for the first time tonight, the Raiders take care of business and keep Georgetown off the base paths. After 4, it's your Rouse Raiders trailing 5-0. You're listening to Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports. Welcome back as we're getting things started here in the 5th. Leading off for your Rouse Raiders, the catcher, number 1, Cody Vanoy. Now let's see if the Raiders can get some offense going against Grayson Smith. Smith delivers. This one's fouled away for strike 1.
Smith's done a phenomenal job on the mound this evening, and as we've kind of pointed out a couple times, he's gotten out of innings with fewer than 10 pitches thrown several times tonight.
Well, he's probably just around 30 pitches so far in the game. That's a guesstimate on my part.
He's up to 34.
It's at 34 pitches on the night, so I was in the ballpark. So. 1 strike to Vanoy. Smith comes set. And the pitch. That goes down and away. A fastball for ball 1. That evens the count. Dalton Porter on deck. No outs, nobody on here in the top of the 5th. This one's popped up. It looks like it's going out of play, and it does. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Cody Vanoy. Raider bats desperately needing to get something started here on the night. Raiders have been solid all year long in getting base hits. That pitch misses outside, and that'll even the count up at 2. Childers trots out, wants to talk with Smith and make sure they're on the same page. Smith picks up the sign. He toes in on the rubber. He winds and comes home. Vanoy fouls this one back out of play, and the count remains even at 2.
Vanoy came close to knocking out one of the light poles there.
Two pitch from Smith coming up. On delivery, this is hit to second. Seaback has it, throws over to first in time, and Vanoy is retired to start the inning. 4-3 on the putout, and that'll bring up number 55, Dalton Porter. So a little interesting tidbit. Seth Francis will be going to McNeese State University next year, and Porter takes strike one.
Well, Lake
and
Charles.
They played, Lake Charles. And they played at the Dish last night, so he was going around the house, go Pokes, go Pokes, go Pokes. They're the Cowboys, so he's going go Pokes. And tonight, Hayden Thomas's school is Texas A&M Corpus Christi is playing at UT.
Oh, I believe that one's in Corpus, actually.
Is it in Corpus? Do they actually go down there?
At Whataburger Park where the Hooks play. It's not where Corpus typically plays. So
I didn't realize that Texas had traveled down there. I had in my impression that it was a home game, but I have been corrected by the great Karl Schoening.
I just heard about it on the radio earlier.
The 0-2, as Porter stays alive, he gets a piece of it and fouls it back to the fence.
I like to keep up with Craig Way's crazy schedule as he follows everybody in the Longhorns athletics for the most part, and he also does a good handful of high school stuff all around.
Right. 2 strikes to Dalton Porter. And that pitch just misses outside. And I mean just misses. He could have called it either way, and you really couldn't argue about what he had called. 1-2 the count to Porter. The pitch. This is a comebacker. Smith has it. Throws over to first, and Porter is out.
Now at bat, number 11.
2 away. Let's go 1-3 on the putout, and that'll bring up the shortstop, number 11, Robbie Ramos-Caro. Caro popped up back in the second for his only appearance, his only at-bat. The pitch misses low for ball 1. Smith has thrown more pitches this inning than he has in any inning. 1 ball, no strikes to Ramos-Caro. This is grounded to short. Posey has it. The throw over to first in time. And after 4.5, your Rouse Raiders, no runs, no hits, no errors. And on to the bottom we go. And that'll bring up Matt Bazemore. Comes on in relief of Seth Francis as he will now assume the pitching duties. Bazemore, a kind of a soft-throwing lefty, but he's got great movement on his curveball. And it works to keep batters off balance.
Yeah, we were talking about it when Francis came in there in the third inning, the bottom of the third, that it was a little early for him typically, and I was wondering if that would mean that he would go longer than he typically does, and we kind of get our answer as Bazemore comes in, and Francis really settled into his zone, going 1-2-3 there in that bottom of the fourth, and just trying to make sure that he doesn't overexert himself. You're going to need him later on, perhaps even Thursday.
So you're absolutely correct. I mean, you don't want to overextend an arm like that. You can assume that Hayden Thomas will be the pitcher on Thursday night. Actually, it's Friday.
I beg your pardon.
Friday.
all these days start to blend together, and my calendar gets mixed up.
Right.
It's
well,
already April.
We lead busy lives. And we give a lot of our own personal time and our own finances to do what we do, and we do it because we love it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a son here. Obviously, he pitched well tonight, so it's always special that you get to call him when he's on the mound.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I wished I would have been able to do that with Tim whenever he came through the program. Unfortunately, I never did get to call him as he was pitching, which that's what he was. Predominantly was a pitcher lefty, and he holds a lot of Rouse pitching records.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. He tore his labrum his senior year, and so he was unable to do it. Matt Bazemore gets things started here as Ryan Neitch shows bunt and lays off for ball one.
Yeah, that was an interesting start to the inning where Vinoy kind of had a little meeting at first, and that was the first pitch thrown there.
1 ball, no strikes. Bazemore comes set. He delivers. Pitch outside for ball two. The 2-0 pitch from Bazemore. It's outside for ball three. Three and 0 the count to Neitch. Bazemore comes set and delivers. This one in the dirt inside for ball four, and the leadoff is on.
Third baseman, number 7, Jeffrey David.
And that'll bring up the third baseman, number 7, Jeffrey David. Rouse not needing to give up any more free passes.
Yeah, that's been the unfortunate theme to this game for Rouse, as I believe 3 runs were scored before a hit was registered.
Between hit batters and walks, Rouse has given up 10 free passes. Fastball in for a called strike to David. 1 on with no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Neitch extends his lead over to first, and Bazemore throws over. With a lefty on the mound, you usually keep a runner tied closer to first, but Neitch gets a big lead, and David hits this out to left center, and Neitch is around third. He will score. The throw back to second is not in time, and David gets the double. Neitch, with excellent speed, scores from first.
Yeah, I think that's why you put the hidden run on, and in that particular case, he was able to get a really good jump, and it hit that gapper right in the right spot for him to round third and score fairly easily.
And that'll bring up number 9. This is going to be a pinch hitter, and that is Grant Wood. Grant Wood comes to the plate for Logan Drake. The throw down to first, third not in time, and David scampers and gets the stolen base.
Yeah, Vinoy had a really good attempt right there, just fraction of a second making the difference between safe and out.
The pitch went for a ball. Georgetown with a 6-0 lead.
And they've been real aggressive on those base paths this evening.
This is hit back up the middle. Hempel has it, throws over to first in time. And Wood is retired.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the left fielder, number 25, Hunter.
One away with one on. A runner at third here in the bottom of the fifth. That'll bring up number 25, the left fielder, Hunter Savarese. Savarese is 0 for 2. He is caught looking and flew out to right. Swing and a miss. 4 strike 1.
Yeah, a lot of drop on that pitch from Bazemore.
Vanoy working hard to keep things close. Savarese gets a piece of it and fouls it off. And falls behind 0-2. Is anything that gets by him, you can count on it that Georgetown will be running. The 2-strike pitch, as Savarese just gets a piece of it. And the count remains no balls, 2 strikes. Georgetown with just their second hit of the night against Raider pitching. The 0-2, just a bit upstairs. And that'll take the count to 1-2. Bazemore comes set, and he delivers. A swing and a miss, and Vanoy tags Savarese to complete the strikeout.
Now at bat for your Georgetown Eagles, the shortstop, number 5, Cole Posey.
2 away as Cole Posey stands in. Posey with a single. He got the first hit for Georgetown to score 2 runs back in the third. Pitch misses down and away for ball 1. Posey with a walk and a single. The 1-0. That's in for a called strike as Posey takes. That evens the count up at 1. The pitch, that's fouled off. And the count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, Bazemore could really use the strikeout here to get out of the inning and keep that runner 90 feet away as this wind starts to pick up across the outfield.
It really is. If you watch the American flag, it's whipping.
And it's shaking the poles out there.
Seaback on deck. Bazemore comes set. And the pitch. That misses outside. And that'll even the count up at 2.
Yeah, using that count to his advantage, trying to get Posey to maybe look at a pitch outside and give an offering.
David really extending his lead there at third. This one's popped up and playable. Cody Kelch tracks it. Comes in, makes the catch, and the side is retired. But only after Georgetown scores 1, strands 1. 1 run on 1 hit and no errors. And on to the 6th we go. Your Rouse Raiders trail Georgetown by 6. You're listening to Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports. Welcome back to Tuesday Night Baseball. Your Rouse Raiders trail Georgetown 6-0. Here as we get the 6th inning started. Number 6, designated hitter John Dominguez will stand in. Dominguez now hitting for the pitcher. Grayson Smith back on for the Eagles to pitch the 6th. Fastball down and away for ball 1. Raiders so far have been retired in order every inning, Smith facing the minimum.
And he's done a good job. If he hasn't recorded a strike, it was close to recording a strike, much like that pitch.
Smith with a no-hitter going. And a perfect game. The 2-0, this is chopped on. Down to third. David has it, throws over to first, and Dominguez is retired.
At bat number 14, Kelch.
That'll bring up the left fielder, number 14, Cody Kelch.
Yeah, if that hit had gotten through, I think they might have kicked us outside because that would have been a jinx. But a hop doesn't take such a weird hop and results in an out.
Kelch gets a piece of it and fouls it back for strike 1.
You know, the great Yogi Berra said once, "It's bad luck to be superstitious."
He's always good for such great colloquialisms. It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, that was the great pennant race that the Yankees came back and won, I believe. And they were behind a lot, and he had a great line one time. It's like, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. He has a lot of great ones.
The 0-1. That's in for a called strike, and Kelch falls behind 0-2. Smith steps off. He wants to talk with Childress. Make sure that he's picking up the right side. So,
of course, the best Yogiism. People won't go to your funeral if you don't go to theirs.
The 0-2 pitch, it's fouled off, and Kelch stays alive. This one's hit back up the middle, and it's through the gap, and Kelch gets the first Rouse Raider hit of the night.
Now at bat number 9, Diaz.
A great effort by Cole Posey to try to make the play, but it just gets underneath his glove and goes into center field.
Yeah, Posey would have had a real tight play at first there, but he had a really good jump and range over. Just kind of took a weird hop on him.
Well, Kelch with good speed, and it had Posey deep. So it would have been a tough play for him for sure. That pitch down and away for ball one to Caleb Diaz.
And Childress with a great stab out there into the left-hand batter box to keep the runner on first.
The 1-0 pitch, this is popped up into right field, and it has Theosin backing up. He makes the catch, and Diaz is retired. One on with 2 outs for number 2, Nick Hempel. And this is the first time tonight that a fourth Raider batter has stepped to the plate. Smith doing a fantastic job to silence the Raider bats. The throw back, and Childress gets Kelch off the bag, and although he faced 4, he got the 3 outs.
Yeah, so that fourth batter will still come back in that top of the 7th.
Hempel will come back in the top of the 7th. 1, 2, 3. As he only saw 1 pitch, and that was a ball. On to the bottom of the 6th we go. John Dominguez comes on in relief of Matt Bazemore. And I'll let you know if there's any other defensive changes. Number 6, John Dominguez takes the hill for the Raiders to pitch the 6th.
Yeah, Francis doing, a good job there in relief, inheriting a runner and getting the 1, 2, 3 bottom of the 5th, and then Bazemore coming in only with 1 inning of work, and Dominguez here will have an opportunity to go up against the Eagles. And I kind of wonder if this is a move to just kind of see how different pitchers react to this Eagle lineup in the event that the game on Friday is a bit closer and he does need to reach into the reserve of the bullpen. And, it's always good to throw different arms at the Eagles as well. So we'll see how this bottom of the 6th goes here for Dominguez.
Well, hopefully John can handle it for the Raiders. Dominguez with a good fastball and a great breaking ball when he has control over it. He's facing the bottom of the order with Luke Seaback coming to the plate. Seaback with back-to-back walks. He scored 1 run and was stranded back in the 3rd. Dominguez picks up the sign from Vanoy. He comes set. And he delivers a fastball just out of the zone for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch. That's in for a called strike as Seaback takes. The wind and the pitch. This is hit back up to short. Grounder to Robbie Ramos. He throws over to first in time, and Seaback is retired. And that'll take us back to the top of the order. Wyatt Childress comes to the plate. He's been hit by pitch twice, and he's flown out. into shallow right field and caught by Nick Hempel. And he is facing John Dominguez for the first time tonight. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 6th. And he is caught sticking his hands out to get hit. And he will stay at the plate.
Vinoy made that case earlier that he thought somebody kind of leaned into it and it fell upon deaf ears at the moment, but apparently that might have come into the thought process here for the home plate umpire and works out in Rouse's favor this time around, I guess, as home plate umpire must have saw something that we're assuming most of us didn't quite catch. As I think you and I both thought that that might have been a hit.
He's not relenting on this one. He's telling him to stay put, and that counts as a strike. Well, I'm pretty sure it counts as a strike, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
Yeah, the
he
umpire
throws the sign up. Swing and a miss.
And it is 0-2.
0-2. That's what I thought. It's when he's called for that, that's usually a strike.
Yeah,
so.
You don't see that often.
The 0-2, and Childress caught looking.
Our home plate umpire really nonchalant about that strike call. I thought it was a ball.
Yeah, well, he obviously called it because Vinoy made the throw down to the 3rd. And that brings up the right fielder, number 12, Jackson Siosen. 2 away, nobody on. The pitch, that's in the dirt and gets away from Vinoy for ball 1. Dominguez effectively working his pitches. The 1-0. It's high and outside for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes to Siosen. Siosen has walked and hit to a fielder's choice and struck out. And he calls time. Georgetown has scored 6 runs on only 2 hits. The 2-0, that gets the outside corner. A nice fastball from Dominguez for strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike to Jackson Siosen. Dominguez toes the rubber. He winds and comes home. A swing and a miss for strike 2, and that evens the count.
Liking what I'm seeing from Dominguez on the mound here.
Dominguez really working the zone. Deuce is wild for Siosen. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. That's chopped on. Dominguez plays it, makes the throw over in time. And 1, 2, 3 go the Georgetown Eagles. No runs, no hits, and no errors. Your Georgetown Eagles lead your Rouse Raiders 6-0. On to the 7th we go. You're listening to Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports. Welcome back as we're here to get the 7th started. Grayson Smith back on to pitch the 7th for Georgetown, looking to get the complete game. Raiders looking to at least get on the board. Trail by 6. And as effective as Smith has been, Raider bats are really going to have to fire up to run him off the mound.
Yeah, well, he's definitely shown that, there's a reason this Georgetown team is leading 19-5A, and it's hard to get a base runner on for the Raiders so far this evening, and it would take quite a rally here to force another pitcher to come on the mound.
Nick Hempel comes back to the plate. He didn't finish his at-bat in the last inning as Kelch was caught off the bag. But Hempel pops this up into right field. And Jackson Siosin makes the catch for the out. 1 pitch, 1 out.
We've seen that a couple times this evening.
That brings up the center fielder, number 10, Hayden Thomas. Hayden's flown out to center both times. And he lays down a bunt. Smith plays it, gets the out, and on 2 pitches, he has 2 outs. And that's just like his night is gone so far. Unfortunately, he faced one more than the maximum in the last inning. The minimum than the last inning when Hempel came to the plate.
Yeah, for the only time, and
that'll bring up
hit.
Number 23, Jared Southard. Smith comes set. He delivers as Southard takes strike 1. An outstanding job by Grayson Smith on the hill tonight. No balls, 1 strike to Jared Southard. The pitch from Smith. This is hit up the middle. This goes for a base hit. And the Raiders get a base runner on with Southard picking up another single, or picking up a single. It'll be another single for the Raiders.
Yeah, that Kelch base hit in the last inning in the 6th, and that Southard base hit is the only thing separating Smith from that perfect game.
Raiders have only had 2 base runners on tonight.
Nobody gotten past first.
Cody Vanoy comes to the plate, and Smith comes set. He delivers. This one's hit out to center. It's popped up and playable. Ryan Nychover makes the catch, and that's the ball game. As your Rouse Raiders fall to Georgetown by a score of 6-0. Raiders get 2 hits, and Georgetown, they also only had 2 hits on the night.
Yeah.
The difference in this game was pitching.
Yeah, the difference really kind of came down to, both innings in the first and the second. It was leadoff batters getting hit by pitches, and only that first inning, the Eagles kind of got away unscathed, but just barely. Runners at second and third with 1 out before a double play, and an unconventional one which ended in a strikeout and a rundown ended that in first inning. And then the bottom of that second, there were 3 unearned runs, and it wasn't until that bottom of the third, only one of those 2 runs was earned, I believe, before they got their first earned run on a 5-0 lead. And that's a hard hole to dig yourself out of, and it just does come down to a little bit of pitching. But I think after those 5 runs scored, you really liked what you saw out of Seth Francis, and you really liked what Bazemore did, only giving up the 1 run, and then Dominguez comes in and he doesn't give up anything, and I think that's a good sign for Rouse going into Friday's game, knowing who pitched well and nobody really overexerting themselves. So all those arms probably should be good to go for Friday if they're needed in what'll hopefully be a closer game between these 2 teams.
You can only hope. I mean, you can't give up 10 free passes on the night. And let me just take a moment and look at this and see how many of those actually scored. There's one hit by pitch scored, a walk scored, a walk scored, a walk scored, a hit by pitch scored, and a walk scored. So all six runs that were scored for Georgetown on the night were either hit by pitch or walks.
You're right, because it was that Posey single that scored 2 runs. That was the first base hit of the ball game, if I'm not mistaken.
When Posey was facing Francis and he hits the little liner out to center, it scored the 2 RBIs, and that was their first hit on the night.
And they only had one more throughout the evening. Yeah, you don't usually see something like that. That's one of the more unconventional stat lines. But these are 2 ranked teams, and this is a great district and a great area of a hotbed of talent. Several Division I players on both sides. Well, good players that will go on to play Division I baseball, and or have the talent to if they choose to. And I'm excited for Friday. I think Friday will be a really good game, and it's important for Rouse to take that advantage to bounce back and split it. It'll be a home win here for Georgetown, and Rouse looking for the home win up there in Rouse Ballpark on Friday.
Now, Rouse and Georgetown split the series last year and ended up having to play kind of a play-in game to determine seeding for the playoffs, and Rouse handily defeated Georgetown in that game to take over the top spot in the district, and they finished as co-champions last year in District 19-5A.
Yeah, and if you could split the series here, then that would be a big victory for Rouse. And as we're making this playoff push, and it's Cedar Park and Rouse kind of jockeying for position there in second and third for the district. It's Georgetown kind of looking to solidify that spot at number 1.
So Raiders dropped their second district loss tonight to the Georgetown Eagles. Raiders fall to 5-2, and Georgetown advances to 9-0 in district play. The Raiders looking to bounce back on Friday night against the Georgetown Eagles. So both teams, struggled at the plate tonight. The difference being, as we discussed, giving up the walks and the hit batters.
And, of course, we should mention what a phenomenal performance it was for Smith on the mound for Georgetown.
Oh, absolutely. You can't take anything away from that young man. He only gave up 2 hits on the night, and up to Cody Kelch getting the hit back in I think it was the 6th inning.
It was the 6th with 2 outs, I believe.
Right,
so
it was
he almost got out of that inning.
With 2 outs, and he gets a single and gets on base, and Hempel comes to the plate, and on the first pitch, Childress backpicks Kelch at first and gets the 3rd out to end the inning. So, you hated that for him because it broke up the no-hitter and it broke up the perfect game, which Childress had going, or not Childress, but Smith had going up to that point.
And if anything, there was the base hit there in the top of the 7th that kind of solidified that it was no longer a perfect game, and that kind of gets you maybe a little bit of confidence going into the next game, knowing that you're not going to have to deal with Smith on Friday night.
Right.
Because sometimes you just have to deal with those kind of nights are. You just have to chalk it up to he's a great pitcher, and they were seeing the ball well. There, like we said, there were several times where there was 1 pitch and 1 out, or 1 pitch resulted in an out, and maybe on Friday when they see those pitches, they can kind of put them where they want instead of going where the defense is. And the wind will probably be a little bit better. The wind was definitely a factor tonight. Anything hitting the air stayed in the air.
Right. Well, tomorrow's supposed to be a beautiful day here in the Austin, Texas area. And hopefully we see that continue through the rest of the week. And Friday night in Leander will be a beautiful night for Rouse baseball.
Yeah, I'm over all this rain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'll have a different broadcast partner on Friday night.
I believe it'll be Brad.
I believe it is. Brad Tillery will be back with us, and we're looking forward to that. But, man, Karl, it's Been wonderful getting to work with you. I'm not sure if it's our last game together. I have to look it up.
It's the last scheduled game, but come playoff time, if I'm needed, I'll be here. It's been a fun few games here covering Rouse, and I wish them luck as they head further along on the season.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity to have learned from you and get to work side by side with you, and look forward to what happens in the future.
Likewise. Thank you.
So,
Michael.
We want to thank everybody for listening in tonight, and hope you enjoyed Rouse Raider Baseball on SHN Sports Network. We'll see you Friday night in Leander, 7 o'clock game start. Good night, everybody.